Hello and welcome to another episode of James Talks. I've not been online for a little while. Again, this is just about, a bit of fun, so I'm not making a career out of this. Anyway, I've been posting up some videos of bits that I've been doing in terms of making a home gym, and it's been adapted and various other bits. So I've been asked to actually see what the whole thing does. So today I'm going to show you. So here we go. We're going to go right through everything from how it came to and where it is now, and roughly sort of how much it costs. So let's get going. Okay, so initially this lot wasn't like this for a start. This was very, very basic. What I actually did is I invested in one of those cable pulley things that you just have the pin at the bottom and the pulley wheel, and the weight smashes you in the shins and swings all over the place if you get any sort of intensity into your workout. Wasn't ideal. I tried to conform it into something I could use in here, where I needed a way of being able to utilize anything because weights are overly priced at the moment. Some people are selling them at respectable costs. Big shout out to Toki Fitness at the moment in Milton Keynes, doing fantastic bargains on sheet steel cut into plates. I think I paid 45 quid for two 10 kilo plates, which is about a third of the price of what most people are charging. Some people are just being ridiculous. Anyway, so what I'd done is I'd set up this pulley system with a bucket, and the idea was I could fill it with sort of cement or bottles of water or whatever I needed just to get the weight in. But it didn't last long. It wasn't great. It wasn't built to last. And this is sort of adapted. It started off with a sheet and a half of ply onto the wall just to create me a backing. Now, what I will say is initially, obviously, when we're looking at training, some of our basic movements are pull-ups, narrow grip, wide grip pull-ups, chin-ups, whatever else. So I included that in. Now, this is a standard single garage with a standard truss roof, and all of that weight with yourself on it would be on the lower cord, which it is not designed to do. So up above, I have a additional purlin which isn't attached to the roof. It runs from gable to gable and it has a bearing on either side, with a masonry fitted wall hanger on either side, and then we have chevron bracing coming down to take any load off of this. So I'm not putting any additional loading onto the span of the roof or the lower cords or the top cords, and I'm certainly not distracting from the node points on either end. So this is completely self-serving, completely self-weighted. So things have advanced quite a lot. You'll see over here, what I did have was this pin where you loaded plates on, and you had to sort of unclip it, put a plate on, clip it, and you do your set, and if you put more weight on, you had to unclip it all again, put the weight on, which was a bit of a pain in the backside. And not to mention that it belted this, and the weight would swing all over the place, especially as you got a little bit more vigorous in what you were doing. So I designed this track, which helps quite a lot. Yeah. And that can be loaded and unloaded with ease. I have tested this up to 70 kilo, which, it's cable, it's about as much as you want anyway. So I was asked, what does this whole setup actually do? So I'm going to go through it muscle group by muscle group. So let's start off initially with probably the most challenging of bits, which is being legs. So for leg training, very, very simply, we can squat and front squat. So front squats, rear squats, whatever. Obviously the bar's a bit of a thing, but it's the home gym, we're in lockdown, make the best of a bad situation. So we can squat. Okay. And to be honest with you, as long as you can squat and you can still lunge with dumbbells, and you can do bits like that. It's pretty good. So if I detach this connection here and put that down into that little cubby hole, and remove that attachment out the way, open this attachment, unclip that, and pull this down here. As I say, I'm a carpenter joiner by trade. I initially trained as a cabinet maker when I left school. I'm now a qualified engineer, chartered construction manager, and chartered building engineer as well. So, you know, I do know what I'm doing to a degree. Now, I reattach that cable back here. There's a reason I've done this. The first time I've done this, it was very, very wrong. It was just reliant on the cable, which is not the best. So, the reason it has the cable on now is more so for tension. So we can obviously put more weight onto the cable and do our leg extensions like so. But that wasn't the point of that thing. The idea of the cable here is just to keep a tension on it, so you get that retraction when you come back. Now, so I have this attachment that goes onto that end, and I can load that up with some extra weight. So I've got the weight on the cable holding the tension. Bit of a pain to hook, but we have a leg extension. So we can squat, we can do leg extensions, and all the rest. Now, using the cable alone, so using the cable alone, we can very, very simply use these ankle straps and do hamstring curls on there. That's not to mention, obviously, stiff leg deadlifts with dumbbells, stiff leg deadlifts with a barbell, goblet squats and walk-in lunges, Bulgarian split squats and whatnot. So that's legs pretty much covered. So next, let's start going overhead a little bit. So further to that, what was also made was this little bench. Folds up nice and neat. This little section here fits into that, pops down, and that clips in there. So we've got a bench. Take a barbell into this. We've got a bench press. Yeah. Obviously, when we're doing benching and stuff, I can change that to dumbbells. This was a design mistake by me, but this does for the moment because I can't be bothered to redo it. But what we can do, pop this in here, and we have various positions that I can drop this in into the grooves for various different exercises. So obviously staying on chest, I could have done dumbbell flies, doing the bench, incline bench, and so on. And we can still obviously move on from that. So this moves up and down, we've got that. Now one of the good exercises with chest and triceps involved is dips. We have a dip station. When the bench is out of the way, we can dip. We can dip quite extensively on this. Okay, so that works nicely. Now, so you can get a pretty good chest workout there. So let's move on to shoulders. Now, obviously, other than our free weight exercises like lateral raises and whatnot else, we're looking for something to overhead press, and it's not always ideal with certain weights to just simply clean it, especially with the amount of space we have available. So we can pop that in, pop these down again, bring our barbell back out, and we have an overhead press. Okay, different positions for that. Okay, so we can really sort of do some bits on shoulders with that. So with that in mind, so we've got pretty good leg workout using free weights and some assistance on here. We've got good chest workout and pretty good shoulder workout. So to carry on with the shoulder workout, obviously what we can do, grab one of these carabiners. This is an old seat belt that's been cut and stitched to create a tricep rope because I'm too much of a cheap ass. And obviously we can sit that way and our face pulls like so. Now you can obviously as well bring in a single handle and do cable lateral raises from the bottom. So I'm just going to pop this down and out the way. Second. Goes into there. So this is where I keep some of the plates and dumbbell bars. And you'll see I've made most of my attachments. So let's look at back. I'll tell you what, we'll get the bench back out. So with the bench out, obviously pull-ups, narrow grip pull-ups. I made this using some 25mm raw steel and a 9mm shackle bolt, which just clip into there, down this way, and we have a little pull down. And we'll put that back away here. Also made, have you seen these videos recently where they've got these sort of hand, they're just like a normal D handle, but it's on a bit of a pivot. They looked pretty cool, so I thought I'd make one. So I made one. This is a 20mm raw steel bar. We've got 25mm shackles, carabiners, and a large 32mm carabiner, which we can just clip that into there. That handle onto that one. That handle onto that one. And of course, we've got that movement. Now, if we went back, that movement, and then of course, we can do that from the bottom as well. So just for the moment, I'm going to leave those handles on there and just put that aside at the moment. We'll use that again in a second. So we're starting to look like we've got a pretty good back workout. Now, this is probably my favourite piece, which is pretty much anyone can do, just in a corner, like so, okay? And I'll take, we can obviously use this strap, which is a hanging strap, any bar. I actually like to use my lat pull down bar and do reverse grips. But of course, we can hook that round into that. And we've got a T-bar, okay. Let's see if you're fortunate enough to have a lot more weights. It does make things easier. You will notice that I'm a little bit particular about things being put away. So, we're getting a pretty gnarly back workout going on. Just using that. I'll put our bench away again, which doesn't take much because it all folds down. So, let's look at what else we can do with this. So, hook that back on. We can. I'll use my other attachment again, but of course you can use the D handles together. So of course you can sit on a stool, and you've got a seated row. Okay, now you can obviously use the D handles just on their own without the bar, or the lat pull down, or the normal straight bar. So you can use them being standing. So there's a lot we can get done here. The only problem we do have in here is it's a bit cold, but beggars can't be choosers, right? Now, so, explain that. As I said, we have the dip station on that we can do our dips with for an arm workout. And of course, we've always got the potential that we can use the cables for arms, because of course, here's our seatbelt again. Other than free weight stuff, push downs, bar push downs, whatever attachment we've got for those. I keep a dip belt as well for the dip station. And of course we can clip that on. Clip that on. Close. And as I said earlier on about lateral raises, so we've pretty much covered a vast array. Oh, obviously we can do pullovers. What I like to do is use the bench with an incline and do like a seated pullover, which is pretty gnarly on your lats. So yeah, so from here we've got some various storage for smaller plates, bars. I've got some more plates down there. As I say, this loads up to about 70 kilo, which is useful. Yeah, all works pretty well. You can, you've got to be a little bit creative, and sometimes it's a little bit monotonous getting things together, but ultimately there's no excuse not to be able to train. So yeah, that is what you can do. Now, this lot has cost me a little bit more than I was expecting. So initially I built the whole thing for about 130 quid. And that was because I had most of the timber and the plywood already. So if you have a look at these pulleys, these are specific pulley wheels. So this is my third set of pulley wheels. The first set of pulley wheels I got were some cheap, nasty things that I got out of B&Q. And I also got this cable out of B&Q. The problem is, there's one. So these are the pulley wheels that I was using initially. These are about £3.20 each from B&Q. This steel cable with the rubber casing is £10 for 10 feet. But it's rubbish. It's not very good, especially if you're going through multi-wheels. The rubber rips off and it gets trapped and it creates a god-awful noise. But it served me pretty well for about 2 months. It was pretty good, to be honest with you. I upgraded to this cable, which is a total 6mm, so it's got 4mm steel inside with a 1mm casing, so 6mm in total on its radius. These pulley wheels have got bearings in and nylon wheels. They're about £15 each. The track, obviously I wanted to use raw steel, like hot rolled steel, but they didn't have any, so I just used aluminium angle. The aluminium angle is about £8 a length for 2.1 meters. Just some PAR wood packed in. This is on some wheels. The wheels are again out of B&Q. They were I think £1.70 each. There's 8 of them on this whole thing. This came with the initial pulley thing that I bought online. It's about the only thing that I actually use from it now. But you can buy them separately for a tenner, and they're a bit longer as well. I changed over to a different type of pulley wheel, which I will try and find one to show you. And I want to show you more so you can avoid them, which was these. You'll see these on Amazon. 25mm pulley. These are designed for rope, not for steel cable. So if you're using rope, this will be fine, but if you're using steel cable, they're atrocious. An awful noise, so much so I ended up having to put the old ones back on, and then I invested in the second one. So all in all, I've now spent around £250, including 2 10-kilo weight plates that I bought. So it's still pretty good, considering you can buy bits for thousands now. Yeah, I mean, these hooks are out of B&Q. These are a couple of quid each. These are the same hooks, just a smaller size. Everything that moves is on axle bolts, or sex bolts if you're in America. You know, you've got to know what you're connecting up when you're buying axle bolts, because you can't cut them down. So if you're using standard CLS timbers, we know that they're 38mm wide. We're going to counterbore the depth of the nut, so take off 10mm. Take off another 10mm for the counterbore on the other side if you're going to sink them. So yeah, you can work out the actual bolts that you need to do those. Yeah, and that's pretty much it really. So yeah, for about 250 quid, I probably would have been 200 quid if I hadn't have wasted my time buying these silly stupid things out of Amazon. I have to say, I'd advise you not to do. If you are going to go down the cable route, this is the stuff you want. So this is specifically manufactured for gyms. It has a very hard solid wearing outer casing. Has a very, very strong 4mm wired steel cable inside, and it runs through nylon wheels very, very well. not so well on steel wheels. This stuff is meant for hanging your washing on, or signs or flags or things like that. So that didn't last, but it did the job. I think if you were gonna look at a cheaper version, go for rope. Use a 8mm gauge rope that is it's going to last you better, it's going to run through the wheels a lot better. This is the sort of rope you would want, and you know, you can save yourself a bomb really just by doing your own sort of thing, so you don't necessarily need full carabiners. But yeah, there we go. That is my home gym setup. That is how I'm training. I also have a push bike for cardio, which is on a turbo trainer. I've actually formed up a little plywood shelf to put my phone on so I can YouTube for the 45 minutes. I'm sat on that bloody thing each time. So anyway, I was asked to demonstrate what I've been doing through lockdown and to get around training. I'd love to hear what you've been doing. I'd love to see what you've been doing. So comment, tell me what's been going on. If you want any advice, just message, inbox, whatever. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Send us a message. I'll do my best to give you some advice and some tips, or even send you some links to some products that might actually work. I'm not advocating anyone in specifically. I'm not getting paid to promote anyone's business. It's just that, you know, what I've found works and what doesn't. So yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Take care, stay safe.